All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on behalf of the California Department of Veterans Affairs and the California Transition Assistance Program. We would like to welcome you to today's virtual workshop titled Disability Compensation and Claims Overview. Today, we are working in partnership with Cuyamaca College, so we wanted to send our thanks for your time and partnership in giving us the platform to allow us to host this webinar. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Derek Rose, and I work as a training coordinator for the California Transition Assistance Program, or CalTAP. We have a lot of great information to share with you today, specifically about the disability compensation and pension and claims process for your federal VA benefits. And we'd also like to start by highlighting the CalTAP program and show you kind of how to connect with us and show you how our program is designed and inform you about some of the benefits and services that are offered here in the state of California for veterans and their family members. So with that, we'll go ahead and continue. There we go. Just some general housekeeping for today's webinar. We do ask that you, have your videos turned off and your microphones muted if you are not one of our panelists. This just helps kind of streamline the presentation and save on the bandwidth for the rest of the presenters. As far as introductions go, again, my name is Derek. I'm also joined by my colleague, Michael Cisneros, who is kind of manning our chat and Q&A tab. So if you have questions, we do encourage you to use that Q&A tab on your toolbar. There's, the chat tab that you may also see. This will be used just to send some general information about our program as we're going along so that you can follow along, and we'll send some links and resources in there for you to share. But if you do have direct questions, go ahead and use that Q&A tab, because that will allow each panelist to see that question and respond accordingly. And we'll also give some time at the end to address those questions that you may have. This being a disability claims webinar, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions. Some may be personal in nature. So, if you do have questions, feel free to describe those as needed. But also, for the sake of time, we might not be able to address each one, but we will give you all of our contact information today, and we will follow up with you if we do not get to your question. As far as the agenda goes for this next hour, I'm going to be speaking about the CalTAP program and describing some of the benefits and services that CalTAP has to offer. And then we're going to transition to Lance, who's our San Diego link, and he's going to speak a little bit about some of the work he does in San Diego and surrounding counties. And then we're going to be joined by Tim Matthews, who is our Veterans Claims Representative for the San Diego County Veterans Service Office. So a lot of great information to share with you today. Thank you for being here. And with that, we'll go ahead and get started with the CalTAP overview. What exactly is CalTAP? Well, just as it says right here, informs and connects veterans of all eras to their federal and state benefits. And the way that we've designed our program and our curriculum is through our pathways. You see each one of those bullet points right there is a unique and individual pathway that a veteran may encounter in their transition to civilian life. So everything from our core curriculum, which is essentially what I call VA Benefits 101. It's how do I enroll in VA healthcare? How do I file a claim for disability compensation, which we're going to cover today? Exactly what are my benefits, federal, state benefits, and everything that you need to know. And additionally, education, employment, entrepreneurship, and veteran service providers. If you work and serve veterans, or if you hire veterans, that service provider pathway is good for you as well. So these are all user-friendly, self-paced learning modules on our website that you can navigate, and we can kind of show you how to find us and connect with us as well as we go along. I'd also like to highlight our California Veterans Resource Book. This is a great tool to keep handy. It's often referred to as the Bible of Veterans Benefits. It basically has everything we're talking about today, plus the remainder of all of your federal and state benefit information, how to connect with your local offices, just contact information for everything you need, and kind of all of the fine detail in black and white regarding every single benefit that you can think of. So this will be sent through our chat feature. Feel free to download a PDF version of this for yourself, and you can always reach out to us directly if you would like a hard copy edition of this resource book. So this is the Calvet website. It can kind of show you how to find our program right here. So if you clicked on that icon right there where it says CalTAP, that would bring you to our CalTAP landing page. And as you can see, as mentioned, we have each one of our pathways that you can navigate on your own. But for today, we're going to kind of open up that core curriculum pathway, that VA Benefits 101 that I mentioned, and kind of show you everything that lies within there. Like I said, anything from your healthcare benefits, how to file a claim for disability, and so on and so on. But for this overview portion, we want to open up that module 5, which are California benefits. All right. And so exactly what are they as a veteran living here in California? So some of this you may be familiar with, and some of this may be new information for you today. So just some of the benefits that we offer. First and foremost, we do like to highlight our college tuition fee waiver program. This is for veterans dependents, dependents of disabled veterans with the VA. So if a veteran has a service-connected disability, their child can attend any state school here in California tuition free. It's a great benefit. There are some eligibility requirements regarding income and service-connected disability requirements, but overall, it's an outstanding program that saves veterans thousands of dollars a year in tuition costs. A really great program. DMV programs, there is the veterans designation on your driver's license. This is just the word veteran printed on your driver's license. So this allows you to show your veteran status without having to physically carry around your DD-214 everywhere you go for those benefits and discounts at your Applebee's and Home Depot and things of that nature. So another great benefit. The motor vehicle registration fee waiver. Now, if you have been rated 100% disabled by the VA and that disability rating impairs your mobility in any way, you can receive a doctor's certification for that disability, and then you can apply for the disabled veteran license plates at the DMV. Once you have those license plates that say DV on them, that will in turn waive your vehicle registration fees for one vehicle. So again, some eligibility requirements as far as mobility and disability rating, but that is another program that is offered through the DMV. Additionally, there are reduced fees for hunting and fishing licenses. If you like to enjoy the outdoors here in California, recreational activities is another great benefit for you, as well as a state parks pass. If you have a 50% disability rating, you can apply for a distinguished veterans state parks pass. So free entry into state parks. Again, if you are rated at 100% disabled by the VA, you can apply for a property tax exemption through your local county tax assessor's office. This has a certain exemption amount based on the assessed value of your property. But if you do have that rating of 100%, definitely reach out to your tax assessor and apply for this tax exemption benefit. Business license, taxes and fees. If you are selling products or goods or services and you need to obtain a business license, whoever issues that license to you should be waiving those fees. So whether it's a city office or a county office, you always want to double check and just verify that they're waiving that application fee for you. Some additional divisions that we have at Calvet. Our program, CalTAP, falls within Veterans Services, which is, maintaining all of our programs, our outreach, and additional programs through the Veteran Services Division. We also have our Calvet Home Loans program. The Calvet Home Loan is a really unique home loan program here in the state of California that uses your VA home loan eligibility, and Calvet actually serves as the underwriter and lender for your loan. So it's a great program. If you'd like to learn more about that, we can share that information, but always also wanted to make you aware of that benefit if you're interested in home ownership. Our women's veterans and our minority and underserved and underrepresented veterans divisions at Calvet, they do a lot of great work, advocacy and outreach for some of our underserved veteran population here in California. A really great team of folks on that side as well. Homes for long-term care. Calvet actually operates 8 veterans homes in the state of California. And these homes have a wide range of care from independent living through skilled nursing facilities. So if that time of need does come for yourself or a friend or a family member, just know that they have that eligibility for residency at a CalVet Veterans Home. And CalVet also operates 3 state cemeteries as well, again, when that time of need does come for yourself or a loved one. All right, moving on. So if you would like to stay connected with us and stay kind of plugged into all of our trainings and our outreach and our webinars, you can always reach out to us directly at our CalTAP email, and we can include you in our future announcements and our newsletters, which would allow you to register for all of our upcoming events. You can always follow us along on social media, and do encourage you. We do host a lot of webinars frequently from a wide range of topics. So we'd love to see you down the road on one of our webinars. We also have that QR code at the bottom right there. That is a survey for today's webinar. It's just some general feedback to let us know how we're doing on these presentations. So we do encourage you to take that quick, I think it's a 3 or 4 question survey about today's presentation. This is my personal contact information. You can always give me a call or reach out to me directly. I'd be happy to take as long as needed and take any amount of time to answer any of your questions that you have today. All right, with that, we're going to be moving on. I'm going to introduce Lance Yunker, who's a San Diego region link, and he's going to get on and tell you about all of the awesome work that he does down in San Diego County. So with that, Lance, it's all yours.
Hey, thanks. You can hear me okay, Derek?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm at another event this morning, so I'll be quick. And it doesn't look like I have enough service to connect to video. So you'll have to use your imagination on what I look like. But I am the local interagency network coordinator, or what we call a link. And a little bit about myself. I was in the Army. I was a airborne infantryman in a reconnaissance surveillance target acquisition. I was unfortunately wounded in Iraq in 2007, spent a good 10 months recovering in the hospital, and then was medically retired from service and started my, transition out. I did a pretty big disservice to myself and my family by not learning about my disability and compensation benefits. So the fact that you are all here on this webinar is fantastic, because I went probably a decade without, the benefits that I had received. And believe it or not, back in 2007, when I was medically retired and I was wounded very bad, I left the service with only a 30% rating. And I thought that was just all you got. I didn't know that you could apply for more. I didn't know, those things, and I did not pursue them for a long time. So again, very stoked that you're all here. The next slide is going to show you the map of California. This is the link regions. So no matter where you end up getting a job and, or transferring, to a different part of California. This is the map of, which link kind of oversees that region. So make sure that you kind of get that information down, just in case you end up leaving. If you're in San Diego or stay in San Diego, I'm your point of contact. The links really get to know their regions. Our jobs are, a little bit molded to the territory that we serve. So my region has 8 military installations, the most active duty service members in one area in the entire world. And, that obviously means there's more transitioning service members every year than anywhere else. So a lot of my job is going around and helping in that transition space, trying to bridge that gap from, there's over 700 veteran service providers in San Diego serving veterans, military, and their families. So I tried to, bring that information onto bases where that information really doesn't get, and try and provide kind of some bridges and bridge the gaps between that. But other links like Ben way up in the north, you see his region is massive. He spends about half his time, I think, in Motel 6s, spending the night. Luckily for me, I don't have to do that. I can get to everywhere in my region within a day. But he's out there, trying to serve those veterans in very rural communities, with different needs and different service providers up there. So, our jobs are tailored to the veterans we serve. Next slide. This is going to kind of talked about this. Our main focus as links is really to provide outreach. We're, try to get the veterans, service members and their families to understand what what's out there in California, what's out there federally, at the state level, at the county level, and at the nonprofit level. We're making referrals basically every day. So whether an organization comes to us or whether a veteran themselves come to us, we're going to refer them to, what they need. And then we assist with local emergencies when there's fires and floods. We go to those DRCs, disaster recovery centers. We go to the LACs or the local assistance centers after fires, that kind of thing. We're there to assist those who have been displaced by those disasters. And then we also provide leadership and advocacy to the local communities. And again, that looks different depending on the link and their region. Next slide. All right, this is kind of ways that you might be able to be helped by a link, kind of thinking outside the box. So even if it's not a CalVet organization or Department of California, whether it's EDD trying to get help with unemployment or job-related services, whether you're trying to get an appointment with the CVSO, doing a compensation claim or filing for your benefits, whether it's CalVet or VA, Vet Center, all these different things. If you're having trouble with anything, reach out to your link. They most definitely have a relationship set up with that organization or know somebody. Like we have veteran representatives at EDD. So instead of going through all the, loopholes, we can get you to, kind of a veteran representative within that organization faster. Next slide. Okay, this is my contact information and probably the most important slide. I hope that you guys take down my information. My email, sdlink@calvet.ca.gov, or first name dot last name. My last name is an I. A lot of people confuse it with an L. And if you send it to Lance Lunker, he never answers emails. It goes into an abyss. He's a terrible dude, so make sure you send it to Lance dot Yunker with an I, or that SD link email, or that is my personal work cell. So text message me, call me. If I don't answer right away, I will get back to you as quick as possible. I'm usually pretty good at responding to everything. Do leave a message if you call and I don't pick up. But I hope you all have a great day, learn about these benefits and can apply them and help you out. Have a great day.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lance. Appreciate your time, as always. All right. Now I have the pleasure of introducing Mr. Tim Matthews, who's our Veteran Outreach Coordinator at the San Diego Office of Military and Veterans Affairs. So he's going to speak about all the great work he does working and serving veterans. Tim, we're thankful to have you today. So with that, the floor is yours.
Very good. Thank you so much, Derek. Hope you get all. I want to first say thank you all for your service, and for any spouses out there, thank you for your support of your service member. Greatest thing in the world. I work for a wonderful organization, the County Veteran Service Office. A few weeks ago, I was on your campus there at Cuyamaca. Loved, beautiful campus there at a resource fair, and I'm so glad to be talking to you again about VA benefits, which is our primary function of what the Office of Military Veteran Affairs for the County of San Diego does. A quick background, as you see, you may be able to see some pictures on the wall and behind me. I'm from one of those legacy military families, father, brothers, and myself. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, as is two of my brothers. The other brother is a Navy veteran. My older brother and I are both Vietnam veterans, and I served from 1969 to 71, and in Vietnam 70-71 with 3rd Battalion, 7th Marines, and still working with veterans, and probably till the day I die, because I love you all, and that's what I love doing. I'm passionate about that. So thanks again, Lance, for your service as well. Great guy. Lance Unker is the guy to definitely, for any resources out there, and our wonderful partners at CalVet. My goodness. Next slide, please. To talk a little bit about the collaborations that we have, and our office collaborates with the main areas there, the federal government, the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, California Department of Veteran Affairs, and of course, all of the county association, county veteran service offices throughout the state of California, of which there are 56 veteran service offices in the 58 counties that we have. And of course, we do a tremendous amount of collaborating with DAV, VFW, American Legion, Swords of Plowshares, those wonderful organizations that also provide services as well. Next slide, please. What does the County Veteran Service Office do? Number one thing is that we provide veterans and their dependents free benefit information. Free benefit information. Do not have to pay for this. Do not have to pay for the paperwork that our office provides. We have 4 offices throughout the county that provide that service. We do assistance, we do counseling. And to be honest with you, in 2020, a couple of years ago, we brought in about $540 million in federal benefits to our veterans that are here in the county, which I must tell you, we have about 256,000 veterans in the county of San Diego. Our office tries to help every single one of those. And of course, we do a lot of work with the active duty men and women here in the county of San Diego, which is about 123,000. We got a lot of veterans, a lot of military. Over 1/3 of our entire county has something to do with the military, either veteran, families of veterans, active duty, families of active duty. Next slide, please. What is a service-connected disability? And this is really important. It's any condition, injury, or disease caused by, aggravated by, or first diagnosed in military service, as long as it's chronic in nature or it has residuals. This is a service-connected disability. This is what the Veterans Administration is most interested in. This is how they A, rate you, and B, treat you for any service-connected disability. And of course, there is monetary compensation that is tax-free every single month for the rest of your life, coming from the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs. Next slide, please. What's required for a service-connected disability is, as I mentioned, it's really incumbent upon the veteran to substantiate something that happened during military service, injury, disease, exposure, event, or a current condition that is connected to your service, or a nexus link between military and current condition right now. This is really important because you need a service-connected disability. You need a clinical diagnosis from either your primary care physician, civilian, or a primary care physician in the military to get a diagnosis. And with that clinical diagnosis, our office is able to develop a disability claim and submit that directly to the VA. Next slide, please. How do we do it? This is my favorite slide, ladies and gentlemen. This is the process flow of what's going on with your claim and how it starts and hopefully how it ends. Number one thing is there's a document called an intent to file. That document will get, the VA gives you 365 days in which to submit a claim to the VA with back pay from that day that they started. For example, you put in an intent to file document today, which is the 5th of December, and you have until the 5th of December next year to develop that claim. And let's say that that claim takes, it takes you 9 months to gather that evidence and put that claim together. You will receive back pay from today within that 365-day period. Two things I want to stress, and that is simply if you are in the service, we're in the service, to make sure that any illness, any service-connected disability is recorded in your medical history, medical record, because that is the number one place the VA goes to first help adjudicate your disability claim. If it's in your service record book, fantastic, it's there. Gathering the service records, gathering the treatment records, and additional medical opinions. If it is not in your service record, but you feel that it is service connected, that's fine. Again, you will need to get a clinical diagnosis from a primary care physician indicating it is service related, and that will help get that process, that will definitely help get that process started. After you get those notes and you get those records compiled together, you set up and make an appointment and meet with a veteran service rep in one of our 4 offices throughout the county. We have an office in National City, headquarters on Kearney Villa Road. We have an office in Oceanside, and we have another office in Escondido. We have veteran service representatives in all 4 of those offices, 90% of which are all veterans themselves with service-connected disabilities. So not only do we talk the talk, we walk the walk. We make sure, because our vets know what it is, the needs to take to get that claim developed, get that claim submitted directly to the VA. After that claim is submitted to the VA, you will get a letter from the VA saying we'd like you to attend a compensation and pension examination so that we may adjudicate that and prove that it's service-connected disabling. Once that information, that examination takes place, those records, that examiner sends that stuff to the VA, to a person called a rating veteran service rep. They compile that information. They will either award you a disability rating from 0 to 100%, or they may get back and say, we're going to deny this claim. What I tell every veteran, and this is important, if they deny your claim, that simply means they need more evidence. If the disability is there, perhaps it wasn't done correctly, or there's not enough evidence submitted initially, no problem. We will help you. Our office may be able to help you gather more evidence for that disability claim and help you get a rating that will be sufficient for you, that you like. And then you wait for a decision on that, and they will award a disability rating, as I mentioned, treatment records if you're going through treatment, and or the compensation certainly will follow after that. That is what I call my roadmap. Very important information to give you an idea of how the process flow goes. As I mentioned earlier, all the work that is done on behalf of our veterans, you veterans, is done free of charge. Don't pay money to have people do this for you, because essentially it's against federal law to pay money for people to take money to develop disability claims. Next slide, please. How do I find my county veteran service office? Our partners at Calvet make it so easy for you to find our office. It's on page 428, I believe, in the Blue Book, and it's listed by county. Phone numbers, addresses, and hours of operation are listed there. Next slide, please. You can also find where our office is by going to the left side of your screen, typing in your zip code, and it'll tell you exactly where the closest office is, whether it be National City, headquarters, Oceanside, or Escondido. Next slide, please. This is my information. That phone number that you see on the bottom is my office phone number there. If you would like, and I'm going to give you my personal cell phone number right now, and that is 858-405-6019. Call me. I will get back to you. Email me. Absolutely, I will get back to you. We could talk about what possible work that we could do for you. Call me up and I will help you schedule an appointment with one of our 4 offices. And again, I want to thank you all again for your service. Any questions, please send them to me. We'll get that process going. Thank you, Derek. Thanks, Michael, for having me on this thing. And I want to thank you all and have a very good holiday season for all you veterans and spouses out there. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, Tim. Always appreciate your time and partnership on these events. So thank you for all the great work that you do. Thanks again.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, so here is a kind of a recap and everybody's contact information for today. These are, going to be really valuable points of contact for you going forward. So encourage you to just take a snapshot of this information and feel free to reach out to myself, Lance, or Tim. If we, don't have the direct answer for you, we're going to get you to the right people and where you need to be. So again, just make note of this information. With that, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to my colleague, Michael, who has kind of been fielding some of the Q&A questions that have come in. I assume we have a handful to address for this topic. So Michael, if you just wanted to facilitate that and maybe just direct those questions to the appropriate person or just kind of answer as needed.
Yeah. So I'll just go over some of the questions that we've already answered. I know there was a question that was more on the personal side. So Tim had already answered that one, and given a phone number that the person could reach out to. So other than that, though, we had a question about the fee waiver. And so something about the fee waiver, it is for child dependents. Basically, there's 4 different plans for the fee waiver. We find that most veterans fall under Plan B because Plan B requires just a disability rating, any disability rating between 0 and 100, and they look at the child's income. This person was asking about the spouse and whether or not the spouse can use the benefit. The spouse can use the benefit if they are eligible for Plan A, and Plan A requires the veteran to have served within a wartime period and to be totally and permanently disabled. And so if that's the case, then yes, the spouse can use this benefit, but that's just something you would have to go and speak with the CVSO about to figure out eligibility for that. Otherwise, child dependents are good. They go off of the income level of the child and the disability rating of the veteran. And another person asked about the slides. We aren't posting these slides on our website, but I did post a PDF copy of the deck into the chat, along with other resources. So if you want to go through the chat just to see what other resources I posted in there, you could download those and have those phone numbers if needed. So let's go now to the open questions. There are a couple questions about medical records. Tim, maybe you want to help out with this one. This person just asked, how do you gather medical records? What's the best route?
There are 2 ways to get, thanks, Michael. There's 2 ways to get that. Number one, all the medical records are generally kept in St. Louis, Missouri at the National Personnel Records Center, unless you have already signed up with the VA healthcare system. And once you have signed up, the VA has requested your hard copy of your medical records. They will be at the VA hospital if you have signed up. If you have not signed up, you could go back to St. Louis, Missouri. There is a document to use in order for you to get a copy of your medical service records, and also if you need some copies of your DD-214, that document is called an SF, Sam Frank 180. It is online, and you simply, it's a 1-pager where you fill it out. On the bottom, it will ask you what type of information you're looking for, and they give you 3 categories: medical records, service records, and DD-214. I would recommend checking all 3 boxes. They will send you a copy of all of the records that you are requesting to help adjudicate any claim. There was a question earlier that I think it was Steve who asked about an injury that may not have been put in his medical records. My recommendation is to go back to that command. All commands, doesn't matter what branch of service you're in, have offices, medical offices where the corpsmen are or medics are. They have records because every time you go to sick bay, they have to record that information. That a knee situation that you ask about should be and will be in that medical record at your last command, wherever that base was, wherever you were. Getting that information, I could help you do that. You have my email address, send me some information about that. But definitely the most important thing is to get a copy of your medical records, service records, and your DD-214 is at SF 180.
Great. All right, good answer. Thanks, Tim. So the next question is there anything you can do with the claims that are waiting to go in front of the vet judgment? In front of a vet judgment?
Good question, Bao. The big thing there is simply when it goes before a vet judgment, you're sitting in front of attorneys and you're sitting in front of a judge. That is unfortunately a waiting period that you have to take. There's nothing that certainly our office can do. And the VA has taken that, elevated that claim all the way up to the judge. I will tell you this, that once it gets to that level, it's usually 95% accepted when it gets to the judge level, because you've gone through several other processes to get up to there, and they're very, very act very, very positive towards veterans and their veterans' illnesses. Versus, we're not going to give you anything. We don't think you deserve that. The judges come up and say, yes, they do. Unfortunately, the Veterans Administration, they're very strict on a lot of their decisions that they make. This is why I always recommend gathering more evidence, always recommending going through that. But when it gets to that judge level, at the very top level, you just have to wait until you get your court date on that.
Great. All right. Let's see. So this next question is asking about the resource book. So I did post a PDF copy of the resource book in the chat. The current version that we're using right now is the 8th version. We are in the process of updating that book. We're still, going through it right now. Can't give you a date on when it's going to be published, but just know that the current version that you have is going to be the most updated one that's out there. It's the 8th version, and so that's what should be in the chat right now. See, this question asks, what's the process for amending a claim? I'm 70% rated today. My initial claim was granted in 2017.
Thomas, what I would do with that claim is that you're currently at 70%. Wonderful. What I would do is that you could go back and resubmit a brand new claim. You don't want to amend the existing, but you could submit a brand new claim since the 70% rated claim has already been adjudicated and completed, closed out. I would begin a brand new claim. In addition to that, looking for a higher disability rating, which again would require a little bit more evidence from either a nexus letter from a primary care physician, either a civilian or a VA doctor. Go back in and say, I'd like to resubmit my claim for a higher disability rating. And then first question they're going to ask you is, can you please give us some more evidence that would allow the VA to look at that again and to give you a higher rating? It is done every day. And to be honest with you, I have done that process 3 times over the last 3 years. So to try to get my disability rating up, I just got one myself. I happen to be 2 percentage points below 100%. Doggone it. So that's where I am, but it does work. And I would resubmit. Please come in, set up an appointment with one of my vet service reps in one of my offices. We will redo a new claim for you and get that information, help you gather that information, get that nexus letter together. We will actually even help you tell you what the doctor needs to put on that nexus letter to help you get an increase if that illness has been exacerbated.
All right. So this next question is going to be about the fee waiver again, and it's asking if there's a maximum number of years that that you could use a school waiver for. The answer is no. So you can have as many kids using it or a spouse using it. You can use it all the way up to masters or doctorates if possible. The only thing is you just got to make sure that either the dependent stays underneath the income level, which means they're not going to be working the whole entire time they're going to school, practically, or they're staying underneath the age level, because under some of those plans, they do age out of them. So those are the only things that could make you ineligible for the benefit. Other than that, if you stay under those, then you are able to use it as far as you want. So the next one is going to be about our property tax exemption. And this says, does the property tax benefit apply only apply if it's your primary residence? That's actually a really good question. So I know that with the property tax exemption, we usually have individuals reach out to the local county tax assessor to discuss eligibility requirements. But let me just, unless Derek or maybe
my
Tim
understanding is that it does have to be on your primary residence.
Okay.
Yeah.
So primary residence, and then if you have any other questions about the eligibility requirements or that benefit, definitely reach out to the local county tax assessor. you can find a list of your local county tax assessors under the Board of Equalization's website. So the California Department of Board of Equalizations. Okay. Can Tim expand on his comment about not paying organizations to assist with VA compensation filing? There are many out there that do not appear to be scam organizations. Yes,
I can expand and will expand on that. What I mean by that is that the federal government, because there is veteran service offices, veteran service organizations, and even the VA themselves do the paperwork for veterans to develop and submit claims. Yes, there are a lot of organizations out there, most which are like attorneys. Attorneys charge veterans to do the paperwork. Actually, what they do is they don't charge you to do the paperwork to develop the claim and submit the claim, because that's a free service. What lawyers do, attorneys do, is they charge you for their time to sit down with them and talk to them about developing the claim. That's the loophole that these organizations have that go around the VA. I'll give you a perfect example. I was at a resource fair, a senior resource fair in El Cajon a couple of months ago. There was a woman there, and she says, when veterans become over the age of 65, they, particularly survivors of those veterans, and they are at or below the poverty level, there is a benefit called aid in attendance. And that is an extra supplemental amount of money that is given by the Veterans Administration to the survivor spouse for that. Well, this organization, this woman said, well, we charge 10% of whatever the veteran gets, the spouse gets, to process that paperwork. That is not a legal thing. And I don't know how they got around that, but to give you a very good idea is that I met with 2 weeks ago the Veterans Administration Office of Inspector General, and we talked specifically about organizations who do that, who charge money to develop those claims. There are veterans have done it. There are other people. In order to develop a claim, legally develop a claim, first of all, that individual has to have an accreditation through the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. That is a legal document, a legal working issue that you have to get accredited through either the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs or the California Department of Veterans Affairs in order for you to legally develop documentation. That process takes schooling. Those individuals that are accredited must go through training at least once a year. I know that Calvet has programs that it's every 3 or 4 months because the laws keep changing, but that is the reason why it is a free service by organizations like VFW, American Legion, Swords of Plowshares, Purple Heart Veterans, and most definitely through the county veteran service offices. My question is this: if you have a lot of money and money is important to you, you could always pay somebody to do anything for you that you want. However, this is a free service provided by county veteran service offices and those other veteran service organizations. So again, some of them are good. A lot of them say they're fantastic, but a lot of them are attorneys and they charge you money based on their time to meet with them. They cannot charge you to develop that paperwork and submit that paperwork because they too have to be accredited through the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. I hope that was able to clarify that. If that is not the perfect answer or the right answer for you, please get in contact with me, email me, let me know if there's a situation that you may have worked with. But again, I met with 2 weeks ago the Office of Inspector General for the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. What they are trying to do is cut down on the scams that are out there that are scamming veterans and their spouses and their survivors.
Good answer. All right. So next one again is going to be, can you explain the Nexus letter process? How do Nexus letters work for the veteran?
Great idea. good situation that happened to me personally. As you may all know, being a veteran, doesn't matter what era, I'm a Vietnam guy. There's all of our men and women that are Iraq and Afghanistan veterans. They put together the PACT Act. They just signed it in August of last year. It went into effect in January of this year. What that simply means is that if you have an illness that is being exacerbated and it may have occurred after or in service as a service-connected disability, and now years later that you've gotten out and things are breaking down, things are getting more exacerbated, you could go to a primary care physician, a doctor, whether it be a VA doctor or a civilian doctor, and say, I have an issue with my leg. I injured my back, and my back has been adjudicated, but now it's getting worse, and now I have sciatic pain, and I've got other issues that are coming into play. You go to your primary care physician and say, this is service connected because you have my records that it's service connected, but now things are getting worse. I would like to get a letter from you stating that this is a service connected disability. It has become exacerbated over the years. You take that letter, you bring it to our office, and we will develop a new claim for you. We will take that letter, copy it, and submit that as evidence to the VA for them to help adjudicate that, claim. 98% of the time, a nexus letter helps adjudicate those claims, whether they be initial claims or whether they need to be claims to get an increase in a disability rating. But nexus letters are gold to the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs because it's coming from a physician, a primary care doctor. That's how that works.
Great. All right. Good answers. Good questions too. Let's see. This next one, just saying thank you, sir. Call you eventually for a few more personal items.
I look forward to hearing from you, sir.
All right.
Ma'am.
So the next question is there any guidance for applying for the vehicle registration fee waiver? Guidance would be go to your CVSO. There's a couple forms that you're going to need. One is a DMV form, Reg 256A. That's DMV form REG 256A. On top of that, you're going to need a PCGL letter 112. You could get that from your CVSO, so they could definitely help you out with all that. Once you have those documents, you're going to go to your primary care physician, and they're going to basically sign off. The benefit does require the veteran to have 100% disability rating, and the disability does have to affect your mobility. So that's what the doctor is going to be signing off on. You get those documents in to the DMV, and then you'll get those disabled veteran license plates. So
Michael, could I add something to that?
Go ahead.
What I would do for that vehicle registration, there's two issues. Michael brought that up. I know that about having the word veteran on your driver's license. The County Veteran Service Office is the only office in the County of San Diego that administers that program on behalf of the DMV. There is a document, if you want to have that document, to have that the word veteran on your driver's license. The document that we use directly to the DMV is called a VSD 001. Our office has those documents. Again, if you are 100% service connected disabled, get a letter from your doctor if you happen to have mobility issues, and bring that that document in along with your DD 214 to one of our 4 offices. They will sign it, stamp it, and give it back to you. You take that to DMV and you'll get your license plate, your handicap license plate that you need. If you are not mobility and you want the word veteran on your driver's license, we use the same form, only we check one less box, and our Veteran Service Office takes care of that same document, and it's done right there on the spot.
Yep. So always go with your CVSO, first bet.
Mm-hmm.
I think this next question is about the CVSO. So they're saying after the first meeting with the VSO, is it easier to get continuing appointments when needed? And love to hear your input on that, Tim. I would assume though that you should be able to. I mean, you could go to any CVSO in the state. So if you're not getting help at your local one, you could try the next one over. Sometimes you could do phone appointments. So you should be getting the help you need. But Tim, if you have anything to add to that, please feel free.
I do. Now, this is about the person who submitted and says my VA disability were denied for physical injury contentions. Is that it, Michael?
I'm not
Oh,
100%
that's fine.
sure.
No problem at all. I definitely get, according to my decision letter, the reviewers did not consider them a chronic disability, but acute injuries. Is there a way to prove my disabilities were chronic from the service? Yes, you could get a nexus letter that would do that. Again, when the VA sends you a letter denying any benefits, denying your service-connected disability, I say no problem. It just needs a little bit more work. It needs a little bit more evidence to prove our office could help you obtain that additional information. Dealing with the reviewers at the comp and pen examination, folks, they're not the most accurate people. They do make mistakes. In fact, on a personal level, they made a big mistake last year with me. I waited all last year. I had to resubmit a claim. I had a second comp and pen exam in February of this year. I just got my rating now, 40% on my back. I had a back injury in Vietnam. The rater that happened that I saw last year at the comp and pen did not even put down half of the information that was needed. So please come back and we're going to put in a new disability claim. You're going to get a new comp and pen examination, and you're going to make it clearer to that reviewer so that they will approve it or at least get the right information to the VA rater. And that's so important because you will be denied if they didn't do it right. And believe me, I hate to say it, but they do it wrong more times than none. So please come back and get a new claim started. We will do that.
All right. And so we're going to answer a couple more questions. We're getting close to the end of the event, and I'll pass it back on to Derek, but let's go ahead and just answer maybe 3 or 4 more questions. Looks like that's pretty much what we have left over. So does the tuition and fee waiver continue to be available to my dependents even after my death? Yes. So as long as you have that veteran status, your dependents can use this benefit. What's great about this is even if you decide to move out of California, in most situations, the veteran or the dependent can still use this benefit here in California. They would still have to prove their residency status, but the veteran that doesn't necessarily need to live in California. So that's a pretty good benefit for the veteran and their family. The next question, Tim. Okay, Tim's answering that one.
Good.
I did put a link to the state park pass. If you are interested, that one does require you to have a 50% disability rating. So definitely check it out if you want that state park pass at no cost. It's a pretty good benefit for veterans if you like to be outdoors. And then finally, I'm getting veterans placed on my driver's license on Friday. The CalVet office provides a form you take to the DMV. Was it the CalVet office or the CVSOs that perform? I'm pretty sure the CVSOs are the ones that have the forms that you need for the DMV.
Yes, that is that Victor Sam David 001. VSD 001 is the one. There is another form that DMV uses. It is so convoluted, it is not the right form. It's that VSD 001 is the one you want to use. And I'm
get a lot of, sorry, Tim. We get a lot of phone calls from actual veterans who are at the DMV trying to get this done on their driver's license, and they call us.
Yep.
And they say that the DMV tells them to call CalVet to get that form.
Yeah.
So they'll be in the DMV calling us, but the proper way is to go through your county office, just as Tim said, so that you can certify that VSD 001 before you go to the DMV, and then they'll take care of you from there. So be sure to go to your CVSO, get that certified prior to making any trips to the DMV. That's my personal recommendation for sure.
Great.
Fantastic.
All right. So we're gonna go ahead and for those last couple of questions. If there's anything that we can answer on the side, feel free to email us. We can verify anything or clarify anything. But I'm gonna go ahead now and pass it back on. It was a really good, robust questions and answers period. So Great questions, great answers, Tim.
Sure.
And let's go ahead and pass it back on to Derek, and he's going to close us out. So go ahead, Derek, when you're ready.
Yeah, it was a really great Q&A session. Thanks, everybody, and thanks, Michael, for facilitating that. So just wanted to thank you all again and just kind of highlight some of the upcoming workshops that we have virtually. Actually, tomorrow, we're doing a whole webinar on state and national park benefits for veterans. So if you have any more questions about the eligibility, kind of what those benefits are and how to apply for those passes, feel free to tune in and follow us along and tune in tomorrow for that virtual workshop, as well as DMV programs. It kind of perfect segue to our next topics. So really going to be clarifying that DMV process, how to go through the county, get those VSD 001 forms for all of your DMV program needs. So a perfect segue up into our upcoming webinars. I just wanted to send this one more time. If you have your phone out and you have a few minutes, just scan that QR code. That just really, lets us know how we're doing and making sure that all of this information that we're presenting to you is valuable and relevant to you going forward. So again, really encourage your participation in our survey. And just wanted to say thank you again. Thank you all for your military service, whether you're a veteran or a spouse or a family member or a service provider. You all make a difference in the lives of veterans. So we wanted to thank you again. Thank you to Cuyamaca College for allowing us to have the platform to host this webinar. Really thank you for your partnership with the CalTAP team. Thank you again to Tim and Lance, again, for your partnership. As always, really valuable, great information. So with that, we're going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you all again. Have a great rest of your week. Happy holidays to you and hope to see you down the road. Take care.